and the same in-house audience should be as happy as it comes. We are going to have our host today, who is Rukshana Chitaka, and when she's invited to speak, I would like everybody to give her a round of applause, a huge round of applause. And every time we recognize anybody, I would like you to be that happy crowd that actually recognizes the other. So we are going to be as happy people. Let's clap. Let's give rounds of applause to each and every one. And that's what we're going to do. So can we do just one more practice of that round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, our host for the day, Rukshana Chitaka. We're getting there. We're getting there. Now the happiness is coming. So we're getting there in a few. So that's what I expect from you in a few minutes from now. And when we get to live TV, the silence would be that when the person is speaking, we recognize them. When we have our breaks, I'll be announcing them to you so you can have that moment where you can interact. But still, it doesn't stop you from whispering to one another, but don't overdo it. So, at the best of it all, I would like everybody to have fun right now because it's going to be a fun moment. So enjoy yourselves and have fun. In 2 minutes, we come live.
Check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. Check 1. Check. Check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. One and two. Mic check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Check 1 2. 1 2. 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you that somebody left a telephone, a mobile telephone, in the bathroom. So kindly, if you've lost it, come to me and I'll hand it over back to you. That's what Omtima Omugabe means when we talk about giving and generosity. So we'll be back.
Check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. 1 2. Check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Mic check 1 and 2. Check 1 and 2. Microphone check 1 and 2.
walked everywhere.
Check. Check, 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 check. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check.
Yes, okay. Yes, okay.
Ready?
Yes, okay. Yes, okay.
And edit it. And
Check,
then send
check.
it to you.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
So now, yeah. So nowadays, a lot of people what they do is go chop it into small bits that make a lot of meaningful sense or whatever. Yeah. And yeah. Okay, Jackie, over to you.
Yeah, so I said I grew up in the days of hardly any cars.
Yeah.
We literally walked everywhere.
Yes, okay. Yes, okay. Yes, okay. Yes, okay. Yes, okay. Yes, 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 okay. Yes, okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Gathering of Givers 2023. This is the business edition. But first things first, join me in giving a warm Kampala welcome to our live TV audience, please, in the room. Warm Kampala welcome. Thank you so much. We have our friends and our partners that are also joining us online all the way from Nairobi, Dar es Salaam, South Africa, and across the world, because this conversation matters. So all of you are in the right place. My name is Rukshana Chitaka, and I'm honored to be your host this morning and throughout the course of the day. And I have a question, and I promise not to embarrass any of you in the room. By show of hands, how many of your businesses or your organizations have a dedicated budget to corporate social investment? And we have to be honest, guys. How many?
What do we expect from you? So the next time she comes back, the same reception you've given her is what we want you to do. Is that okay? We needed to make sure that you are actually attentive so you can get it. So in the next 2 minutes, we're coming back live. So at least we've now known that you are into the whole gathering of givers. Thank you so much. So in 2 minutes, we'll be right back. 2 minutes, we'll be right back.
my name. DJ Cypherly in the mix.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize for a small delay, technical glitch, but we are coming back to you in the next few minutes.
Well, my name is Kenneth Chimuli, also known as Pablo. Pretty much people know me as a comedian, but I'm also a theatre
before we continue with this, I'd just like to let our audience know that we do have the lovely lady on my right, Susan Mujawa, who is actually signing for our audience that they have challenges with hearing. So don't mind her. She's also serving in her space, right? Like I said, my name is Rukshana Chitaka, and this is the Gathering of Givers. And this year, like we said, we're talking about businesses. And there are businesses probably in this place, but I want to bet that the ones in this place do not fall in this category. But they're businesses that generally think that they have to be making a profit after tax that sits in a certain figure for them to actually be able to invest in the community. Do you agree? But how many of you actually know that you do not need to be making a lot of money to actually be able to invest in the community? Show of hands. And how many of you are actually doing that? How many of you know that it's not just money that we actually use to give back to the communities? There is a lot that we can give. Each organization here probably has more than one employee. So there's a lot that we can use through the skills that we have, the resources that we have, the networks that we have, and the connections that we actually have. So there's a lot that we can do. Now, at SeedSource, we like to celebrate people that are doing amazing work, especially in the giving area. So today is also about recognizing people that are actually doing that, because no good deed goes uncelebrated. I'd like to tell you a short story, but I'll not tell the short story myself. I'll take you all the way to Lubowa, somewhere not too far from the shores of Lake Victoria, an organization called Roofings Uganda Limited. And it's a story of corporate generosity. They are doing quite a lot. But it's also a reminder that community investment takes a deliberate effort, and it takes thoughtfulness, but more importantly, it's good for business. So if your business is struggling, what's the thing to do? Give back to the community. Invest in the community if your business is struggling, because guess what? The people that you employ in your organizations, are looking forward to an organization that truly cares about the community. Let's take a look at some of the work that's being done.
Kindness and generosity in Uganda and across the world is here. An annual event that brings together philanthropists and those with Ultima Order. Let me take you on a journey over yesteryears. In 2020, we counted givers
Gentlemen, that story that you just saw, and you may not have been able to make a lot out of it, but I'll summarize. What Roofings has been doing for the last so many years is actually focusing on regreening the economy. They've also been focusing on improving mobility in the community because it really matters. And they're also focusing on driving sickle cell awareness. Now, a little bit about Roofings. Roofings has been in business for 29 years in the country. What does that tell you? If you want your business to survive the test of time, then you need to make an investment in the community. So our Fast Gratitude Award this morning will go to Roofings. So I'd like to invite someone from Roofings to just come to the stage, and we will have the Gratitude Award given to them this morning. We'd like to commend the work that they're doing. And our Fast Gratitude Award will be given by the Sea Fund Manager, Lillian Tamale. Congratulations, Roofing. A good job that you are doing, and keep doing the good work. And there's quite a lot that we can learn from the Roofing story. The ton has to start at the top. You don't just suddenly wake up and you are investing millions and billions in the community unless the leaders at the top truly believe that it matters and that it counts and that their businesses thrive because of the communities in which they exist. So once again, a big round of applause to Roofings, and keep doing the good work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what started as probably a brand building activity so many years ago, 19 years in, it's probably one of the, if not the top professionally run charity in the East African region. 19 years and counting. Billions of money raised. Millions of lives transformed. I think you cannot talk about sustainability and philanthropy in Uganda and not talk about the MTN Marathon story. So let's clap to that. And one of the things that makes the MTN Marathon story quite profound is the fact that they could have chosen to go this journey alone, but they didn't. And you know why? Because it doesn't cost anything to share the spotlight, because it is never about the spotlight. It is about the people whose lives are changed every single day. And for that, we'd like to just take a look at the MTN Marathon story, just in case we've forgotten it, because it's been a long time, and then we shall take it on from there. Here's the MTN Marathon story. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I hope you are actually listening to every single word that those pictures are saying, because they are saying a lot. So what we'd like to do this morning as well is also recognize MTN Uganda Limited. We'd like to recognize MTN for the fact that they have shown us that it is okay to share the spotlight. We'd like to recognize MTN because they have told us that it is important to work together in order for us to do a lot more and be a lot more. So I'd like to invite the MTN team that's available and maybe members of the foundation who are here to just come to the stage as we receive the award. Brian, I can see you at the back. Brian and I go a long way. Just a little side note, Brian occupies the seat that I occupied at MTN for a while, doing this work. So I am particularly proud of the work that MTN continues to do so many years later. And Brian and team, keep the good work going. And I'd also like to obviously recognize the presence of our chief guest, who is none other than the MTN CEO, Ms. Sylvia Mulinge, and Jacqueline Asimwe, the founder, Sieve Source Africa, is going to do the honors. She will hand over the award to MTN.
And Mr. Onapito is our trustee. That's what they've whispered. Please come.
Please join.
And how many of us have participated in the MTN Marathon by show of hands? Like 2.5 of us. The rest be doing what? But thank you so much. It's a loved brand in Uganda. MTN has been a true pace setter, quite literally, when it comes to activating generosity within the business community and for individuals. For close to 20 years, they've been leading the way through the annual MTN Marathon. This event has become more than just a marathon. It's a growing movement of givers. MTN has exhibited the unique ability to mobilize friends, fans, and funds, all in the name of meeting community needs. They've given people a good reason to run and make a difference. But their story goes beyond just the run. It's a story of collaboration and 360 generosity. They've given their treasure by creating a platform for artists and athletes to shine. They've given, MTN has shown us, rather, that when a company leads with a big heart, it can inspire a whole community to come together and create positive change. And for this, we honor you and recognize you today.
Surely we can give a bigger round of applause to MTN for showing us that it is actually possible to go above and beyond. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, MTN. But I'd like to grab my elder, Ona. I don't want to let you go yet. Yes. I'd like you to just... So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to invite an elder, a wise and exemplary leader, a well-respected professional, whom we know for walking the talk as far as community investment is concerned. You cannot talk about sustainability of any business. You cannot talk about corporate social investment and not talk about what Mr. Onapito has done through the years through Nile Breweries, and we salute you. He is a man with a heart for the community, and as many of us call him, we actually refer to him as honor, and the pun is actually intended. We honor him. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Francis Onapito Ekomoloit, board chairman, Nile Breweries, Uganda. And he's giving us the keynote address. Over to you, sir. I believe it is.
I hope will expose that rust. I did not.
So we're switching things up a little bit.
So in my retirement, one of the things I've been doing is to unlearn the ways of working life. And that includes presentations, meetings, Zoom. So I'm completely a villager, the way I came to the capital. So yesterday I drove from my farm in Teso and arrived here late. This morning I went to market to celebrate the AFCON hosting rights. That's why my dressing is in Ugandan colors. But I was also told this is a gathering of givers, so I said I better go not dress in a very serious suit. I might be given a real suit. So I have come to the givers, our chief guest, the CEO of MTN, who is also a bit of my boss through the foundation, where you saw me being shown as a trustee. So I come wearing the hat of the chairman, Nile Breweries, which is also a new thing to me and a new thing to you, because you knew me as Rukshana's counterpart at some point. I think when you're in UBL, I was, okay. I was there. So I've been around for a while. So the story of Nile Breweries has been told and retold. And now I'm least qualified to tell it, but I have some bits that I can be allowed to tell. I think for businesses generally, it's a thin line, it's a fine line to argue whether you are giving or you are not giving. Because we exist to make money, which for all intents and purposes is about taking. So sometimes there's a lot of skepticism. There's a lot of cynicism about corporate social investment, because people say, after all, this is the money we gave you, so what are you really giving? But who tells you we should give? Sometimes you can say, why should we give? It's our right not to give. We are in a fair exchange. We give you products, we give you service, you give us money. I'm now talking about the community, I'm talking about the consumer. But I think from my experience at Nile Breweries and from what I know, many of you know better than me, that giving and doing business are inseparable. Because the first thing is that you can only give what you have. So you cannot give if you are not a successful business. I know that is also a bit controversial. They say you can give whatever you have. The Bible tells us. But I know that at Nile Breweries, and I know in your own organizations, the expectations are big. We do, or we used to do, surveys almost annually. And technically, people want a company to be the government of Uganda. That is the expectation out there. They want you to build schools. They want you to build roads. They want you to build hospitals. They want you to educate all the children. So how can you do that if you are not a successful business? Even if you are tempted to do just a fraction of that, would you be able to do it without being successful? So as we celebrate MTN and many of you in the room, the first step to giving is to be a successful business. So what we did at Nile Breweries to not separate the two, we said there is a lot of poverty among Ugandan farmers. By the time I joined Nile Breweries, government was coming up with not the parish development model, but something similar in sounding PDM, plan for, it was planned for modernization of agriculture. That was the in thing then by government. So we said, how can we as Nile Breweries participate in this program? Should we take money and go and support farmers, give them free money, give them whatever they need to be successful farmers? We wouldn't be able to do it. So the company said, we are importing barley, we are importing malt since beer came to Uganda. Can't we make beer from Ugandan products? So research was undertaken to prove that you could make beer from sorghum. And so the trick for truly giving to farmers was a win-win formula. You grow the sorghum instead of us importing malt from Europe or from Brazil. Grow the sorghum, we make it, we use it for making beer. We buy it from you. So that was a fair exchange on the face of it. But the company had the choice not to use Ugandan sorghum. First of all, it was more expensive initially because you had to do all the development of the seed, supporting the farmers. It would have been cheaper to continue importing malt. But that conscious decision to say that let's get the product, the raw material from Uganda, from our farmers, was the ultimate act of giving by Nile Breweries. The farmers were getting a fair price, they were getting a guaranteed market. So we integrated the act of giving into the business of the company. So on the face of it doesn't look like it's really giving, but I think it is the most sustainable way in which we have been able to give. It didn't become a one-off. We are now over 2 decades in the project, and it has expanded from sorghum to barley, a bit of cassava, a bit of maize. So many more products are coming on stream as locally. So to the extent that all the beer made by Nile Breweries is 100% Ugandan local raw materials. So what we then followed up was to say, fine, there is fair exchange between us and the farmers. Maybe that's not enough. So let's do other things within the farming community. That's why you might have heard about the scholarship we started for children of the farmers, because from our interaction with the farmer, we're able to see that my child, as an employee of Nile Breweries, could easily go to St. Mary's College, Kisubi, which actually happened, partly on company money because I was being paid a salary. But a farmer's child with a similar ability at P7 would not be able to go to SMARC because of lack of money. Even the money we gave them to buy the sorghum was not enough, of course. So we started a scholarship targeting the farmers' children. But we first had a business relationship. Then we followed up with what you may call charity. We gave them boreholes. We carried out health awareness in their communities. We gave them tree planting programs to protect their soil fertility. So that's how we carried out the story of farmer empowerment initially as business, then it also became a bit of charity. So that's one story which I'm always happy to tell and retell. There are many stories during my experience at Nile Breweries. But is it possible for any business to do without giving? 2 minutes only, I'm told. What an ambush, you shoot and finish. I think now we're also compelled as businesses to actually do some of these community initiatives because of the global pressure to be part of the solution to especially climate change. So companies no longer have the choice. You have heard of the ESG. It's almost become like regulation. You know? But to me, the main driver for most companies giving is reputation. There is enough research to show that people like buying from those they like. Sometimes we buy from those we don't like, but most of the time we buy from those we like. So any good company must try to have a good reputation, be familiar with the consumers, have favorable opinion by the consumers, and you need to do over and above doing your business. But never forget that if you are not a sustainable business, you cannot give. You can only give what you have. And as Lucky Dube said, blessed is the hand that does what? No wonder those who give like MTN prosper. So if you are stingy, you are in trouble. Thank you very much.
Ealamanoi. In my culture, when an elder speaks, you do not say anything after that. You just take what they have said, you let it marinate, you reflect on it, and you continue. You do not ask any questions. But lucky for me, the people that I'm joining this morning are not necessarily my elders. I think we so I have quite a number of questions that I'd like to throw at them. So it's one thing to talk about giving and how giving is important and how it is good, how it makes business sense. It's another to actually hear from the people that are doing this, that have dedicated their time and their lives to investing in communities and working with communities. And the people that I have joining me today have every single right to be sitting on this platform. And I'm hoping to mine as much as I possibly can out of them. And I'll start with my my far right, Dr. Richard Kalungi. He's a medical doctor and a Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Kampala South. I'm sure many of us, if not all of us, have heard about Rotary. Is there anyone who hasn't heard about Rotary? Rotary is about service above. Clearly you have heard about Rotary. They put service above self, and you are welcome today, Dr. Richard Kalungi. And the lady right next to him is a lady that has a very interesting relationship with me, or we have a very interesting relationship. Our lives have been intertwined over a long period of time. And what I can tell you about Diana Ondoga, who is the manager corporate social investment at Stanbic Bank, Uganda. She is the manager corporate social investment, and throughout her working life, I have seen Diana dedicate her life to excellent customer experience, and she has carried that into her work in the communities. When you watch Diana engaging with the young people in schools, I get goosebumps. I'm like, where does she get all this love from? For her, it is more than just a job. But again, Diana is a mother. But not to underplay it, yes, Diana is a mom, and she has a passion for growing people. And to my immediate right is Mr. Okinyi. Just give me Ivan Okinyi and Evans Okinyi, and he's come all the way from Nairobi to join us this morning. So it's a pleasure to have you join us. And he is from the East African Philanthropy Network. And we'll jump right into it. And I'll start with the question to Diana. Now, Diana, we know that in some organizations, the role of CSI and the function of CSI is normally bundled either with marketing or with HR. But that can make it a bit challenging to have a clear focus on what it is that you're supposed to do. So as an organization that obviously has a dedicated lead in doing this, how does this contribute to the success of your CSI initiatives as Stanbic Bank? Is the mic switched on?
Hello, can you hear me? Thank you, Rukshana. Greetings from the CE Stanbic Bank and Juko, who is currently in a press conference talking about Stanbic for her. First of all, Shana, the benefit in having a dedicated CSI department is that for projects to be meaningful and have impact, you need to run it like a project. In many organizations, CSI is approached as an afterthought, meaning you'll end up doing activity without deepening the relationship or the initiative. First of all, at Stanbic Uganda, the corporate social investment runs on a strategy that focuses on social, economic, and environmental thematic areas. On the social, we look at the health and education, but also responsible business. On the economic, I think many people know the Stanbic Incubator Limited. That was set up intentionally to address a grappling challenge of capacity among the small and medium enterprises. We all know the contribution of the small and medium enterprises to our country in terms of employment, but also taxation. However, there was a sad statistic about the lifespan. So the Stanbic Incubator Limited exists to build capacity so that the SMEs can be around for a longer period of time, which also speaks to sustainability. On the environment, there's a lot that we are doing, which is around waste management. We have a partnership with Coca-Cola where they pick plastics from work and recycle. We also have a partnership, and I'm glad that Roofings received an award, with Roofings, with Total, with ATC, where we are replacing the forest cover in Uganda. So if you handle these as an afterthought, thank you. If you handle these as an afterthought, or, well, the year is coming to an end, you're never going to have the chance to achieve meaningful impact in the community.
Thank you. And I'd like to just quickly jump to Doctor. So obviously, by its nature, Rotary brings together quite a number of people from all sorts of walks of lives and different generations. And their intent is really to create change, not just in the communities, but also for themselves. Just talk to us a little bit about how private businesses are leveraging their resources and expertise and networks to amplify the impact of Rotary in the communities.
Thank you very much, and very privileged to be here. Rotary in Uganda is an organization that has over 3,000 people, so it's quite humbling that I represent all of them. Some I think are in the room, so I'm really glad. When I look at Rotary and philanthropy, I look at two other things. There's philanthropy there is charity, and there's volunteerism. Many times when we go to these corporate organizations or businesses, we are going with them with requests for money. Now, when you look at Rotary, Rotary is an organization that started in 1905. And when it started at that time, just to give you a bit of background, it was started by 4 people. And these guys sitting in a small room, perhaps smaller than this and less ambient than this, they came up with an idea to relate as friends, but use that relationship and friendship to transform their community. And the first thing that they worked on at that time was a mobile toilet. I don't know how many mobile toilets we have in this town, or how many we need that we have not yet put up, but that was the start. So when we look at partnerships between a service-oriented organization like Rotary and corporate businesses where some of us work or most of us work, we are looking at relationships beyond just throwing money at problems. Many times we say that we are not short of problems. If you really feel that you can't give anything in this world or in this community, look around you. We are not short of problems. We have many problems, and perhaps we shall never solve them. So my response to your question would be, our relationship between corporate businesses and Rotary is an opportunity to have a movement or a culture beyond just throwing money at problems, but creating a partnership and relationship where we start social entrepreneurship kind of thinking rather than CSR kind of thinking. And as a conclusion to this, what I mean by this is we need to have an MTN or a Stanbic Bank looking at problems as problems that affect human beings. And this way look at it as social causes that need to go on for a long time, beyond just giving 2 million or 3 million. And perhaps the problem will never really, you will never have much impact if you move that way. So in conclusion, let's have a situation where businesses look at Rotary and other charity organizations as an opportunity to create social justice and create meaningful and sustainable change in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kalunji. And you talked about thinking, and this is the point where I'd like to bring in Evans. So Evans, as part of your mission, among philanthropic actors, because there is a lot to learn. Quickly share on that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Allow me start by recognizing the presence of my board chair. My contract is due for renewal, so I've got to do this. So thank you, Jackie, and good to be here. So we, in this room, as you can see, we have got corporate foundations, you have INGOs, IC community foundations in the room, and there is a strategic need for us to share the experiences that we have, the knowledge that we have in these organizations, just like we've seen happening this morning. And so the forum in Uganda plus the other East African countries really plays that role of collecting that knowledge and then using that knowledge to support these organizations in making strategic decisions, decisions around collaborations, decisions around our contribution as a sector in the national development process. The forum provides a platform through which these organizations can share the best practices which are within the sector, the best practices which we need to emulate as organizations who want to change lives in communities. The forum enables the sector to also interact with the other agents of development, including the government, the private sectors we are seeing here today, and that knowledge that is gathered from those engagements is what enables us to champion and steer the development process as a collective, because as we know it, you cannot separate the development actors that we have within the space. So that forum plays that role. And lastly, it enables us to tell our story. I think we are here because there is an entity that has brought us together, and this bringing of us together enables us to hear the story of MTN and other stories which are in this room. And this also enables us to shape our narrative as Africa. For a very long time, when you talked about philanthropy, people see the Jack Ma's, people see the Rockefellers, but we have you and me who is in this room and doing amazing work. So the forum enables us to tell those stories. It enables us to shift the narrative of African philanthropy, and that is the role and the work that we are trying to play with those forums.
Thank you so much, Evans. And of course, we would like for this conversation to continue, but we have an online audience, like we did mention, and we'd like to just switch over to Tony Otoa. Tony Otoa is the Chief Executive at the Stanbic Incubator, and he works quite a lot with businesses along their entire lifeline. Tony Otoa, can you hear us? He's coming to us live from Serena. Tony, can you hear us? Do we have Tony? Have we connected to Tony? Okay, we'll give Tony just a second. He probably might be straightening his tie if he is wearing a tie today. Okay, as we wait to connect to Tony, I'd just like us to switch to Barbara Sematimba. Now, Barbara Sematimba is coming to us from Johannesburg, South Africa. Barbara Kunjani, can you hear us? Can you see us?
Can you see us? I can 100%.
Okay, so you obviously had the keynote address. You've had a little bit from our panelists. What is your key takeout from the conversation this morning?
I think it's all about giving. You know, they always say a grateful spirit is a giving spirit. And I think that's the most amazing thing that we can do to, be part of this great story of humanity. But also the fact that it's really about supporting those who do not have the opportunity. I think that for me is really the spirit of Ubuntu, coming together to elevate one another for growth, for, development, but also just to make sure that we are all sharing happiness in this story called life. And I think I'm super excited. I mean, I know I'm super excited to be part of this great conversation, especially at a time that we're doing this another year. And I'm excited that the Business Incubator Ubuntu Leadership Safari is supporting with, getting as many entrepreneurs into the same room with you guys. I think that for us speaks to the story of sharing, the story of Ubuntu, but more importantly, the story of philanthropy. And that is what is great for humanity. Thank you.
Much, Barbara. That was Barbara, the country lead, Sieve Source, South Africa. And I am reliably informed that I can now see Tony Otoa. Tony Otoa, my old friend, Tony Otoa. Okay.
Hello and good morning, Rukshana. Good morning, Rukshana.
Good morning, Tony. Now you engage with businesses.
All right, Rukshana, I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side.
To Barbara in South Africa. Barbara, can you hear us? Barbara, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Barbara. What is some of But we do have Daniel Howler, the Foundation for Civil Societies, who's joined us all the way from Dar es Salaam. Shikamo, Daniel.
When you can hear me, there's quite a bit of feedback and echo on your side. I don't know if you can hear me, so I could go ahead and give my comments.
Barbara, please go ahead.
Barbara,
So we
please
haven't-
go ahead. Barbara,
so we
please
haven't-
go ahead. Barbara, so we have to 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 go ahead.
About that the technical problems that we're having, but we are here in Johannesburg, a sunny Johannesburg. It's a great privilege and honor to join the gathering of givers, our fourth gathering of givers, Safe Source Africa. And we here in South Africa, Safe Source South Africa, join our hearts with all of you. And like we would say in isiZulu, in Inhliziyo Empire, the heart of a giver. So we are grateful to be able to participate and to hear the different corporates that have been speaking and giving their part on what giving in the community and the impact it has. In South Africa, one of the things that is very clear is that we've had to make do with what we have, especially for communities that have not had a lot given and a lot given in terms of services. So communities have learned to group together, to harness what they have. And though MTN and the like of the breweries would say you have to be profitable, you have to have much in the coffers to give, we've proven that as Africans, we live by, we are born, we live and we die collectively with the support of those that have given. And so in South Africa, one of the most common things that you find in communities is what we call the spirit of togetherness, where people gather what they have in Stockville's and have given bit of whatever they have. And so the spirit of giving has been something that has been emulated in how people have made it through some of the difficult pasts of South Africa. And one of the things that we celebrate very, very, very vivaciously and very eagerly is what is our sport and things that bring us together, our sport and our language. And so I just want to join our hearts with yours in what today, in the heart of generosity and the heart of celebrating what brings us together, South Africans. And for us, that is what sport is a big part, and culture is a big part that brings us together. So today, in the spirit of Springbok and Bok Friday, we want to say that there are things that we find in common that would join societies, even things, a society that has been broken by previous huge inequalities. We will find those things, the thin thread that brings us together through sport, through language, through culture. And so we celebrate things that make us truly African, the things that make us bring our hearts together in hearts that can share the little and the much that we have. Over to you. Thank you very much.
So much, Barbara, and we appreciate those beautiful and encouraging words coming to us live all the way from Johannesburg. Now let's see if we can actually try to get Daniel. And Daniel Howler is at the Foundation for Civil Societies, and he's joined us from Dar es Salaam. Daniel, I have 1 minute with you, and I'd just like for you to share with us what stands out for you today.
For you to share with us what stands out for you today.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now is, I think quite a lot has been said in the room, and I thank you so much, lovely audience. You have been very, very patient with us. You have been very, very attentive. You've listened to us. A lot has been shared in the room, and I think now is a good time to sort of just breathe in, take a breather, and just listen to another way of storytelling. And I'd like to invite Susan Karunen as she gets her people ready to come to stage to tell her stories through music. I'd like to thank my panel, and let's just step away a bit. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the lovely Susan Karunen, and she does more than just music. She actually is quite involved in a lot of charity work as well.
Good morning.
And her CDs are available if you do enjoy the music. And when you buy her CDs, you are giving towards some of the causes that she's passionate about. So this is a good test for you to start seeing how passionate you are about giving.
Good morning. My name is Susan Kerunen. I'm an Alur woman. My home is found in the northwestern part of Uganda, right at the border of Uganda and Congo. And just like Rukshana said, I'm a very passionate cultural activist. And through my music for the past 16 or so years, I have been trying so hard to bring forward to people like you here what you had forgotten deep down in your villages, and that is indigenous sounds. And together with a couple of my friends, we run the Power Rhythm Foundation that has to date nurtured and trained both urban artists and artists found within indigenous minority groups of Uganda, artistic skills to make their lives better. And to date we have 53 artists. Some of the sounds you have heard, some of them you probably haven't heard. So I'd like to share that with you today. And these are stories from my home, Alur land. You'll probably recognize a thing or two. If you don't, just clap along. Huh? Thank you. Okay. So we go with this. Apio kikuda chen, kawelo migi tuchi, iruma opi, imotu welo chiza, eweli irima be, irima be, erititio. So till then we live. Till then we thrive. Africa, let's rise up for the sake of the land that we share. Africa, rise up for the sake of the land that we love. Because we know our theme. We know what clicks. Erititio.
Who got
about cleaning our city. The Ogoronam went around cleaning our city. You'll find them along Kampala Road, patching on dustbins, picking up metal, stones. They feed on everything. The Ogoronam walks around with a patch hanging underneath its neck. And you know what that patch contains? It contains acid. So it dissolves everything, you know? It's a recycling process of sorts. But the Ogoronam is one of our lovely birds. People love to call it the undertaker. You know why? Because it feeds on everything and it doesn't die. But you know, the Ogoronam is one of the thousands of birds found in Uganda. And if you do not know, Uganda hosts one of the biggest bird watching sessions in Uganda, actually one of the biggest festivals. And every year, annually, we host thousands and thousands of people in our country. But I bet half of this room has not attended any of those bird sessions. So let's take time and love our country, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate the Ogoronam, right? Achel, Ario, Adek, Angwen, Wachidi, Uwinya Biba, Uwinyu Gorona, Uwinya Bibacha, Uwinyu Gorona, Uwinya Biba. Now that's the eagle. The eagle is another beautiful bird. It's a very strong bird, a great hunter, never misses a catch. In my divine knowledge, the eagle takes time every once a year to fly way up into the skies to cleanse its system. And that is a very noble character, because as human beings, we cannot just eat all the time. We need to all the time think about the cycle of life. And that's what the abiba does. It cleans up its system, fasts, and comes back stronger and better to continue the cycle of life. So as we move on with our daily lives, ladies and gentlemen, let's emulate the abiba and live a healthy life. Wachidi, uwinya biba, uwinyu korona, uwinya bibacha, uwinyu korona, uwinyu bueno. Now that's the unfortunate chicken. I like to call it the unfortunate chicken because sometimes I think it's endangered. Now these are facts, ladies and gentlemen, that I bet half of this room this morning had a piece of chicken. Is that a fact? Yeah. And this is another fact, that the chicken, did you know that when it gets depressed, its feathers fall off its body? That is another fact. But this is another fact too, that there is no single household, okay, let me say almost any household in our country, especially Uganda, that can survive without a chicken recipe, especially now that Christmas is coming, yeah? But as we do that, ladies and gentlemen, let's remember to continue the cycle of life, right? We cannot just eat everything. We are talking conservation, we're talking climate change. Let's take one and replace one. Cut down a tree, put down another tree, you know? I think that is what we are all here today. Even as we think of giving financially, let's think of giving back to nature. Achel, Ario, Adek, Angwen, Wachidi, Uwinya Biba, Uwinyu Korona, Uwinya Bibacha, Uwinyu Korona. Yale, Chego Bepodu, Ubepodu Wikweno, Ikiki, 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 Yale, Chego Bepodu, Ubepodu Wikweno. parts of Uganda and some of the western parts of Uganda, northwestern parts of Uganda. They are Kogo, ladies and gentlemen, by Keith Mugenyi. Festival comes from the eastern part of Uganda, and we just brought it a little bit to the forefront for you guys to savor. And on the percussions tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you, the day, I do a lot of night shows, Mr. Chivalama Robert. I call him Metallic Fingers. He plays almost everything. Percussions, ladies and gentlemen, playing the djembe tonight, today. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, my lovely husband, Mr. Jude Magirwa, my sound engineer too, and my producer for a couple of years. And on the bass, my brother-in-law, this is the circle of life right here we're talking about, Mr. Jimmy Mugema on the bass guitar, and the lovely Jamila Nasanga on the vocals. She's a great dancer, sings everything in allure. Wafayo, wachidi, uwinya biba. Thank you very much.
Did I get it right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful performance. Susan, thank you so much. And like we said, Susan tells amazing stories through her music, and she does have her CDs with her here. They're available for purchase. And a CD only goes for 20,000 shillings. If you buy a CD, you're contributing to the work that she does in the community. So please do support the work that she's doing in the communities. Now, we'd like to just continue with our program this morning. And we do know that there are different ways to give to the community. There are no hard and fast rules. And our next recipient of the Gratitude Award is a demonstration that you can do it your way. They have chosen to actually do it their way. So Endiro Coffee, whose mission is ending child, please give them a round of applause. It's okay, celebrate them. Clearly, we have some coffee drinkers in the house. Thank you so much for that. Now, Endiro Coffee, whose mission is ending child vulnerability, they chose to do it differently. And in a phrase, it is Thankful Thursday for them. But that's not my story to tell. Let us take a look at their story.
Joyce Ochfo, Director of Operations for Endiro Coffee Uganda. My role with Endiro Coffee is to provide oversight for all the locations that we have, the 14 locations in Uganda. Most of them are predominantly in the main central business district, but we do have a few that are upcountry or out of the city. Endiro Coffee's vision and mission is to end child vulnerability globally through or via different ways. One is through, of course, the product, our major product being coffee. The other is the spaces that we have, the people that we have, the services that we provide. So the heart of the business owner was really to start an entity that's going to be profitable. That through the different locations, through the different spaces, we are able to meet that mission and it's still sustainable. We've decided as a business to partner with other organizations as opposed to doing this ourselves. Why? We wanted to have impact. We wanted to work with these organizations because they know the best way to get the best out of the different opportunities and partnerships that we can leverage together that are in the space of ending vulnerability. And more recently, but over a period of 8 years with 4040, we were able to, one, provide the space in our MTN Mulinge location on Thankful Thursday days, where we give them a space to come set up, sell merchandise, but also interact and engage the customer. So with 4040 specifically, we've been able to, through Thankful Thursday, contribute specifically to a building of the orphanage. We've been able to, through Thankful Thursday, initially it was just for a building of the orphanage, that one cause that we started with, but after initially looking at their model, it was that very cause that we started with, but after looking at their model, mission, it was very to partner with them over a long term. Aligned outside of our partnerships, we decided also able to partner with them over a long term as individuals through hiring from those locations. We're very deliberate about the hiring process. Another is through how we source. So we source coffee from the farms directly. We don't go through middlemen. And we deal with farmers who up to 95% are women with their lots, the single lots, where they have the land, they till the land, but we buy directly from them at the best price that they can get in Uganda. Businesses that want to start somewhere, businesses that want to get into social enterprise, I would say start small. Because if you look at it in terms of we want to have, you know, a CSR initiative, then it puts the fear in terms of we need a budget, we need a lot of money, we need to plan for 5 years to be able to do this. And that in itself will discourage you from actually starting. I would say pick something that is aligned to your business, pick something that makes sense with your business model, and then start small.
Thank you. Thank you, Endiro Coffee, for that amazing story. And I'd just like to invite a Sieve Source Group CEO to just get set to give Endiro Coffee their award.
So, Endiro Coffee. And my dog is called Mocha. That's how much I love coffee. And Endiro Coffee in particular, I always visit the Mbale Endiro when I'm in that side of the country where bees comes from. Endiro Coffee is, and I'm trying to find, is a profitably Endiro Coffee is a profitable entity that meets the mission of ending child vulnerability. They organize the Thankful Thursday, as we've heard, where they contribute part of their proceedings every Thursday to a particular cause. Yes, a big round of applause, people. That is generosity. The initiative has seen them contribute to the construction of an orphanage for 4040, and I saw someone with a 4040 t-shirt, and I know many of us also support through our volunteer efforts, 4040, an organization that engages in inclusive philanthropic activities towards improving the quality of the underprivileged children and communities. And they contribute to education as well in Uganda in partnership with Pendeza Uganda, which facilitates vulnerable communities in Uganda to meet their needs and improve the quality of their livelihoods through mobilizing, training, and equipping them with life skills. Endiro's story is truly a testament of their unique business model where philanthropy and social impact take precedence alongside profitability. Their approach emphasizes the essence of making a positive difference in society while running a successful enterprise. Endiro, everybody, a big round of applause.
Thank you so much, Jackie, and congratulations, Endiro Coffee. And now we have one extra reason to take more coffee. especially on Thursdays. You can drink coffee all the time, but when you drink coffee on Thursday, you are contributing directly to a social cause. So I feel like we've seen quite a number of amazing stories, and now is a good time to sort of dial things up a little bit, because today marks a beginning of an exciting opportunity to dial up our generosity, both at individual level and corporate level. And to shed more light on this is something that is being launched officially in Uganda today by SafeSource Africa. And I'll let Asha Kuran, the CEO Giving Tuesdays, take it over.
I'm Asha Karan, CEO of Giving Tuesday. I'm so glad to be able to join you virtually today. When we first started Giving Tuesday 11 years ago, it was with a simple dream: a day for people to do good together, an opportunity for people all over the world to support causes and communities they care about with whatever they have to give: money, time, their voice, acts of kindness, a day focused on our shared humanity and responsibility to one another. Everyone has something to give. Everyone has something that they need. Generosity is a human instinct and a deeply held value, and it's for everyone. And because of that universality that unites us, Giving Tuesday has evolved and grown beyond anything we could have possibly expected, from an annual celebration into a year-round global movement with nearly 100 countries. Giving Tuesday isn't just one day. It isn't just one campaign. It's an opportunity to transform communities, to transform generosity behaviors, to inspire civic participation, and to form human connection. Every year, Giving Tuesday inspires millions of nonprofits and foundations, grassroots organizations, small businesses, large businesses, global networks, and of course, generous individuals to give back. Just a few of the countless examples from last year: Coca-Cola made donations to nonprofits like the American Red Cross and Ronald McDonald House and more, and matched those donations. We see dozens and dozens of businesses activating for Giving Tuesday every year. People to People International Kenya hosted a soccer match and group mentorship sessions to raise awareness about the dangers of substance abuse and to share information about where youth can find support and resources in Mombasa. Africans Rising, a Pan-African movement playing a critical role to push governments and businesses and establish global and national NGOs to focus on challenges that Africans deem critical, hosted a conversation about water justice to kickstart their activities for Africa Day. I am so excited for Giving Tuesday 2023. I'm even more thrilled to see what the Giving Tuesday Uganda leaders, Lisa and Madonna, will accomplish this year, their first year as an official Giving Tuesday country movement. They have both been instrumental in the culture of generosity in Uganda, and both have participated in Giving Tuesday before taking on this official leadership. So we're so happy to welcome them. They have embodied the spirit of Giving Tuesday in all that they've been working on so far, starting with working in collaboration, forming a coalition from different organizations, SafeSource Africa and Dwona Initiative, to lead Giving Tuesday Uganda, because Giving Tuesday is all about working together and all about collaboration. And they're collaborating not only within Uganda, but also across the region with East Africa Philanthropy Network. And of course, they work very, very closely and will work even more closely with Giving Tuesday's own Africa Hub. We are all members of this global movement, and it's an honor to work beside each of you as we build a better world together.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning once again. I'm smiling at my boss to get the psych. Hi, everyone. My name is Paige Omondi. I work with the East Africa Philanthropy Network. We are based in Nairobi, Kenya. And EAPN, for the past 5 years, has been the leading coordinator of Giving Tuesday in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Tanzania. And this year, without a doubt, we are so excited to hand over Giving Tuesday Uganda to SafeSource Africa and Dwona Initiative, represented by my colleague Liza. So I was told to say something, so here it is. So, what started out as a simple mission to promote generosity has grown to become a conduit of empowering our communities to tell their own stories and to lead the transformative change they want to see. Giving Tuesday is not just a single day. Giving Tuesday is not just something that started out as a mission to encourage people to give back after purchasing on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but it has grown to become a vehicle catalyzed by the power of social media to empower communities to not only tell their stories, but to realize that the power to change their lives lies within themselves. Spanning 16 countries in Africa and 4 in East Africa, the Giving Tuesday movement continues to champion the narrative, that change is with us at home. We have to stop saying that change is in the West, change is going to come. It's not coming, it's within you. So we are so excited to be able to have seen the tremendous impact of over $1 million being raised last year in 2022 in Giving Tuesday Kenya and Uganda by local communities using voices, using their power and their potential to change that which they want to see done in their homes. So this year, once again, I am so glad to be part of the gathering of givers that is going to be the vehicle and the support to launch this incredible movement in Uganda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paige, for sharing that. And I would like to say I'm happy that I'm sharing some colors with Mr. Onapito. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and our fellow givers, my name is Lisa Marie Kawoya, founder and team lead, Duana Initiative. Today, I want to share a story, a short one, this one with words, that embodies the power of giving and its remarkable impact on both our lives and those around us. This story is from a small, remote village in Noya district where dreams of a better future hang in the balance for young girls. More than half of these girls couldn't attend school, not because they lacked the desire to learn, but because they couldn't afford menstrual products. And also, they faced stigma and misconceptions around menstruation. In the midst of this struggle, Miss Mary Achiro, and I want you to remember that name, Miss Mary Achiro, the deputy head teacher at Ongai Primary School, emerged as a beacon of hope. She opened her heart and her home to these girls, providing them with cotton cloth, soap, water, and even her small heart as a changing room during their menstruation. Every month, she accorded over 20 girls with the dignity they deserved. Her love and selflessness knew no bounds, but the burden was overwhelming as she funded it all from her meager resources. As a volunteer at these schools, I was deeply moved by her commitment to the possibilities that education could create for these young girls. I couldn't remain silent, honestly. And so I shared this remarkable story on a podcast. And this sparked a chain reaction of kindness and generosity. Over 100 girls received support from scores of listeners, supporters, and friends, ensuring that they could attend school with dignity for over a period of 3 years. Now, you must be wondering why I'm sharing this story today in the context of local philanthropy. It's because this story embodies the essence of what giving within our community can achieve. It underscores the power of an individual's compassion, the ripple effect of one's kindness, and the transformative potential of local philanthropy. This heartwarming story resonates with the principles of Giving Tuesday, a global movement that began with a simple question: what if we could inspire people to come together for one common purpose, to do good? Giving Tuesday encourages us to celebrate as volunteers, empower and learn from youth, unite communities, and have impact as brands and businesses. And also show that small acts of kindness can create monumental change. It's about testing new strategies, programs, and ways to do good. And most importantly, showing up for people in their time of greatest need. Local philanthropy isn't just about giving. It's about the profound impact that we can have on our neighbors, our friends, and our community as a whole. It's about embracing the values of Giving Tuesday and applying them in our everyday life. As Ugandans, and we all can attest to it, we come from a rich tradition of generosity, where some of us in the room have experienced a family sharing a meal with them, people near or far stepping in to support us in times of sorrow when we lose our loved ones, or even when we are at our happiest, at weddings. And oh, we do love weddings. It reminds us that each person's story is a thread woven into the intricate fabric of a shared human experience. In closing, let me ask you this. How will you contribute to the spirit of local philanthropy in our community? I have 3 words for you. Recognize, relate, respond. Recognize. Acknowledge the causes that matter to you the most. Relate. Our collective compassion has the power to create lasting change right here within our own communities. Respond. Amplify your voice. And get involved, because it's good business to do good. Today, Ipsos Africa and Dwana Initiative launch Giving Tuesday Uganda chapter, a chapter that's an extension of who we are already, givers. And today, I encourage you and your entity to sign up. And there is a banner just right at the entrance. Use that banner and scan so that you are able to sign up. Become a Giving Tuesday Uganda partner and join our year-long campaign called Live to Give, where you can spend 1 or 2 days of your annual leave with a local CSO giving back. Because again, it is good business to do good. Thank you for being part of this incredible, incredible journey of giving and embodying the spirit of local philanthropy. And please remember to recognize, relate, and respond. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Liza. Thank you so much, Liza. 3 key takeouts for me: recognize, relate, and respond. And if we choose to do that, then we will live to give. And that is the heart of Giving Tuesday. Like she said, there is a banner right outside the door. Just make sure you scan the QR code and let your giving journey start today in earnest. Thank you so much. Now, our next stories are a demonstration that the arts industry is alive to the need for generosity, and it's rather creative about how it gives. The artists in these 2 stories that we're going to watch are men that know only too well that to whom much is given, much is required. This is a story.
Well, my name is Kenneth Chimuli, also known as Pablo. Pretty much people know me as a comedian, but I'm also a theatre practitioner, mainly a co-founder of Tebere Arts Foundation. I'm a co-founder, but also the operations and marketing director. What we do is to skill emerging artists. We call them emerging artists because most of them are fresh from university or tertiary institutions. And what we do, we have 4 pillars. We call it the Emerging Artists Intensive Lab. Here we get these emerging artists who are fresh from either university or institutions of higher learning. Because they have the theory of theatre, then we take them into the practical of what theatre is, and we show them how do you make money out of theatre. If you're a playwright, how do you make money through it? We bring directors, we we empower them, we empower them, and then after we equip them, what are the tools needed for you to make business through our different social networks and partners. Right now we're into what we call theater for development, and that is theater in the community. So what we do, we go to communities and look out for the artists, and then most of them are, amateurs, it's just raw talent. So we fine-tune them, we get professionals to mentor them at whatever level they are, and then equip them with the different skills.
I'm Noah Malanyanz, a visual arts practitioner, and I've been at it since 1978. I paint for a living, I paint for love, and I paint for the glory of the Almighty God. I've been practicing for the last 45 years. And this studio gallery right here started in 1994, but I had registered in 1992. My art has been used, one, to communicate messages which have helped in fundraising. I'm a Rotarian since 1997 in the Rotary Club of Kampala West. And I've been past president. I was president 2000-2001, and our theme was create awareness and take action. And I did. I created awareness and took action. How did I do it? I created the art piece. You have this is the rotary wheel, the logo. You have the club. You have the club, the district, and Rotary International. This is the Rotary Foundation. Now, when I created this piece, I had to give it a heart image, the giving heart of Rotarians. And this is a family now, father, mother, and child. Whatever you do, rest assured that you are doing God's work, and make sure the spirit that you put in them, you pour your spirit in there and do it for the glory of God, but not for personal gratification.
A round of applause to OHT Noah Nyanzi and Kenneth Chimuli, aka Pablo. And we'd like to invite them to take their position at the stage, but also invite Honor to come and do the honors and give them their gratitude awards individually. Center stage right there. We will start with Kenneth Chimuli.
Pablo.
Who whispered to me that you make him look short?
I'm associated with a company that makes happiness, and the only person who competes favorably with that company in creating happiness is you. So I'm honored to give this award to you as you continue to create happiness in the world.
Congratulations, Pablo, and keep doing what you do to the glory of God. So the next gratitude award.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone. Thanks, SafeSource, for this. I'm forever humbled by this kind gesture, and it's been 20 years of comedy, so happiness is killing me.
And the next award goes to OHT Noah Nyanzi, who has dedicated his life's work
Again,
to serving the
I
community.
used to be on the board of the National Theatre, and one person who gave us a good shake-up all the time was OHT Noah Nyanzi. So well done.
Congratulations, OHT. Congratulations. And thank you, Honor, for doing us the honors.
Thank you.
A quick photo op there. So when you do good things, you get recognized by the universe as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we still have a couple of more awards to actually give. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our chief guest, at the Gathering of Givers 2023. Our chief guest this year is an accomplished leader in every right. She made it to the C-suite at the age of 34 and was appointed to the World Economic Forum as a young global leader in the same year. For those of you who might not know what a C-suite is, it is the people who have the chief to their titles. These are very important people in organizations. She lives her life for legacy, and whenever she enters a room, she lights it up. That's been my experience with our chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you CEO MTN Uganda, Sylvia Mulinge. Please keep clapping for her as she walks up.
I was just whispering at the table. How do you pronounce the name? Roxana? Roxana. I was just saying, the way you're saying when she was 34 sounds like it was many years ago. I would just like to confirm that it is not. But even if it is, I'm still 34 with VAT on top. As somebody would say, my friend Enid. Anyway, it is a real pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. I can see it's already past noon. It's really been an interesting conversation, and as they say, time flies when you're having fun. So I just really want to recognize everyone who has played a role in setting up this gathering of givers, the Corporate Philanthropy Edition 2023. I love the title, that we have to start thinking beyond profit and be businesses that are driving social change. So really happy to be here. I recognize Jackie, the CEO of Civic Source Africa. Enid said a lot of good things about you. And she told me, because I told her, you know, there are many such forums where people invite you to speak, but she told me that she can vouch for your credentials. And that is the reason why MTN is here. And I think even in our interactions with you so far, it has really been a pleasure to actually just see the spirit and the soul and the intent of the conversations that we are actually having today. I also just want to recognize everyone from the different partners who have either come here as businesses who are being celebrated or those who have participated in the different panels. It was also a joy and to see everyone who logged in from all different parts of Africa, hearing voices from Johannesburg, from Dar es Salaam, echoing the same things that we were speaking about. Even my fellow Kenyan who was here negotiating his, the renewal of his contract. I told Jackie, that is my fellow Kenyan. Make sure you do not forget her. And she wrote it somewhere in her book. But it's nice to see that this is a conversation that is happening just beyond the room and the four walls that we're meeting in. So thank you very much for the representation from all the various partnerships, either represented by organization or country, to all the members of the media who are here. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. When I got the details in terms of the concept note from Leah, who is there. Leah works in my office. I went through the notes that the team had prepared for me yesterday, but what drew me was just the title, Gathering of Givers. I do subscribe to the mentality, as was said, I think, by Honor earlier, that it is more blessed to give it is than to receive. And for me, the few minutes I have with you here today is just really to kind of stimulate a conversation about that going beyond just being a mindset that is mainly a personal preference to actually becoming the way that business is done. I have been privileged to interact with some people who have really helped to shape this mindset for me. First of all, as a young leader in the previous company that I worked for in Kenya, I had a CEO by the name of Bob Kolimo. He's now late. And one of the things that he really taught me about as a young leader was about the reason why purpose is important in the way we run businesses and the way we think about how business makes a contribution in the societies that we live in. I further was privileged to meet someone who was also not only just a CEO, but a global CEO of a big organization. Many of you are familiar with probably Unilever, who are makers of brands such as Sunlight, Blue Band, Omo. And one of their iconic global CEOs who retired a few years ago by the name of Paul Polman wrote a book which I carried. I think when people saw me carrying a book, they initially wondered, are you carrying a book because you think the session is not going to be exciting and you want to read a book? And I said, no, I actually carried a book because I think I hadn't even at that time kind of really internalized the conversations that we were having here today. But when I look at the topic, I think it's a book that you should all, for those of you who read, and if you don't read, you can go online, YouTube. I'm sure there are short editorials. I mean, short audio books that you can actually listen to. But this is a very, very, I think, critical book that really shapes the thinking and the conversations that we are having today. And the title is Net Positive, How Courageous Companies Thrive by Giving More That They Can Take. And I just underline the word how courageous, because this journey is not a journey that can be taken by many. As Ona pointed out in his remarks earlier, many organizations view this as a delicate balance. People feel that we make giving comes at the expense of making profit. But I think the new narrative that I hope we will be able to kind of create from the conversations that we are having today and even from this event is to begin to think about creating profit that does not extract from society, but creating profit that actually gives back to the societies that we are in. I think it's high time as businesses we really rethink the capitalism model that we have all been part of in the many years that we have been participating in the capitalist societies that we have been. And rethinking capitalism is really something that has to be anchored on organizations that view themselves as organizations that operate with a deeper sense of meaning that just goes beyond generating profits. These businesses that are purpose-driven are businesses that are committed to making a positive impact on society by aligning the company's purpose and its values with its day-to-day operations. I think one of the most succinct definitions I've come across purpose-driven companies is from one gentleman called Professor Colin Meyer, and I'll quote him. He says that a purpose-driven business is one that aspires to produce profitable solutions to the problems of people and planet, and not to profit from producing problems from people or planet. The summary of that is about rethinking capitalism, where we profit from fixing the world's problems instead of creating them. And I just want to pause there and invite all the different people who are doing business, whether you're an entrepreneur who's operating in the heart of Kampala City, or you're based anywhere in this great country running a big operation, and ask yourself, is the business that you're running, is the business model that you're operating creating challenges, creating new problems, or are you running a business that has the intent and is actually on its day-to-day operations delivering on solving some of the challenges that we face today? The reality is we as companies now have to begin to be very conscious that we cannot operate independent of the societies that we find ourselves in. The reason why that is critical and probably was made a lot evident is, in spite of all the technology that we have, all the advances that we have made over the years in terms of advancement in our thought, in our intellect, the whole world ground to a halt 2 or 3 years ago because of COVID. And that means that we cannot, as business owners, operate independent of the impact that we are creating in the planet that we are living in. It means that we as business owners cannot operate independent of the society that we are living in, because the society that we are in forms our labor force. The society that we are in forms the consumers that we serve on a day-to-day basis. The society that we are in is where we create our wealth from. One of the things I like to remind my colleagues in MTN when we work, where I work, I'm privileged to work every day, is that when you think about the ecosystem that we operate in, the only person who brings money into the ecosystem is your customer. Your shareholder is looking to take away a dividend. Even me, I'm looking to take away a salary at the end of the month, right? The different suppliers we are working with are looking to provide a service and be paid and earn a margin on the service that they are provided to us. Our regulator is looking to get spectrum fees and any other fees that they earn from us. The government wants us to prosper so that they can also get an earning in terms of the tax that they earn. So the person who makes a decision every day is your customer, who from their hard-earned shilling makes a decision: am I bringing that shilling to your organization or I'm taking it somewhere else? Now, if that customer is not healthy, is not educated, is not alive, how are we as businesses continue to get the license to operate in the economies that we are in? And therefore, that whole profit equation suddenly is turned topsy-turvy. Because if we are only thinking about operating in societies where we are looking to extract value rather than create value that is invested back in the societies, then we stand the risk of not creating long-term market share value because we are not invested in the societies that we are in. And I think that has to form the basis of the reason why we have this gathering of givers. Giving has to evolve from going beyond just being something that we do to feel good about ourselves. It has to evolve from being something that we do because we are ticking a box. It has to become a critical anchor of the way businesses are formed, the way businesses are evaluated, and I would even dare say the way consumers and customers make a choice about the companies they want to invest in, the brands that they want to participate in, because they feel that these brands are giving back to us. They're not necessarily just taking away from us. And the age that we find ourselves in, I have to tell you, is an age where, with the millennials and the Gen Zs that we have today, they are very cause-driven. In a world where social media has made the level of penetration that it has made today, it means that every customer who has access to a smartphone and a digital platform has a voice. And their voice can be heard any part of this world because of the level of connectedness that we have achieved. Now, my challenge to the different businesses that are represented here is to ask yourself, if that customer was to stand for your business, what is the narrative and the story that they would be telling about your business? Could they stand as an ambassador of your organization, of my organization where I work in as MTN, to say that I will support this organization, I will stand for this organization, because I can tell the impact this organization has created in my family, in my individual life, in the community where I come from. And it doesn't have to be large scale, a kind of an operation. I think the key challenge we have to ask ourselves is, what is the social change that each business made? And a business is not an entity that does not have a life of its own, because a business is made up of people. It's made up of you and me who are daily making decisions that are shaping the destiny and the direction of our businesses. And those businesses are then creating an impact and having an impact on the society that we serve. So when we gather here as givers, I celebrate all the people who have been recognized, including MTN and my team, who have done a very good job in terms of taking a step forward. But I'm challenging and saying that I do not think it is enough. We cannot, as business owners, continue to realize profits at the expense of the societies that we are living in. And it doesn't take much. It's probably somebody who's operating in a market who takes care of their next market tenant because they're not able to make their ends meet. That is the giving mentality we need to have. There needs to be a radical mindset shift. And this mentality that an organization has to grow to a certain level before they can begin giving. Whether your organization is generating 100,000 Uganda shillings, if you make a decision, if you cannot make a decision to give a certain percentage back when you're making 10,000 today, you will never have the courage to make that decision when you're making 1 billion shillings. Because it is a mindset shift. It is a decision, and that's why it requires courage. Because many people, and the way we've been schooled in the past, and that's why sometimes we find ourselves in the societies that we are in, with the level of challenges that we have even from a corruption perspective, people are used to taking and taking. And we have a mentality that is very extractive in terms of its nature, rather than a mentality that gives back. When we were putting together our thoughts for this, my team shared with me a story and a picture, which when initially I thought I would project the picture, but when I looked at it, I think, well, Leah told me that it would be very, what did you tell me? Very passive aggressive in terms of its tonality. But it was a picture that made the media rounds in 2019. A picture of newborn babies in need of intensive care, being nursed in plastic chairs and the floor at Kawempe Hospital due to lack of sufficient resources to properly care for these babies. As a picture made the rounds, it was taken by, I think, one of the investigative journalists. It caused an uproar from many people, pointing a finger to it being a failure, either of the institution or of the government. Everyone had a different objective. But the question I have to ask is, why did it need to get to that level while we, MTN included, our organizations are operating in this country? I like what the previous speaker said, the lady who spoke. She says, if you cannot recognize it and see it, you will not be able to respond. And when I read this story, I know there was an intervention that was made by MTN those many years ago, and well done to the MTN Foundation in terms of the response that was made. I think in partnership with the Ministry of Health and the United Nations Population Fund, we were able to raise funds that created a neonatal intensive care unit at the Kawempe National Hospital, which I think now holds a capacity brand of 80 to 90 babies at that particular time. So that is a good thing. But my challenge is to ask, why did it have to get there? Are we recognizing the need that is in society? Are we opening our eyes to begin to ask, what is the work or what is the intervention that we can make at our own individual levels to begin to change similar narratives that are around us and that we see with our eyes every day? I think there has to be a conscious awakening that exists in business, that exists in individuals, that exists in society, to make sure that we begin to actively solve for the challenges that we have today. And this is the reason why we came up with the MTN. Okay, you're waving at me. Do you want me to do something? Mr. Production Manager, you're waving at me. You want me to stop? You want me to? I have 2 minutes. Okay, fine. Let me wrap up. Okay. Your sign language was not very effective, but I've gotten it. So that is the reason why we started off with the MTN Kampala Marathon, which, as you can see, has been celebrated here for the last 19 years, raising over 5 billion shillings. That has actually been directed towards projects that touch the very soul of our nation. I think over and beyond that, what we have also sought as a company is to instill the same mindset and care. I think businesses that are led with compassion, with care, with empathy, really create very deep, meaningful connections with our customers. So we have sought to do that with our staff. Recently, I think about 3 months ago, we ran a yellow care initiative for 25 days, going around the country, identifying projects that we could impact. And more recently, we are, as we celebrate our 25 years, October is our birthday month. We will be celebrating MTN at 25 and announcing the winners of the Change Makers Initiative, where we have sought to celebrate people who have stood up to be change makers in their society by sponsoring projects to the tune of 500 million shillings across the country that are going to be impacted by this. So, as I sum up, I had a lot more to say, but let me not go against the production manager. I think in line with the whole narrative of making sure that we create businesses, or we run businesses and own businesses that drives social change, it's important that I continue to just underscore the significance of giving back to the societies that are serving us. I think it's critical to recognize that the transformation of the social fabric of our society is not the responsibility of government. It is the responsibility of us all, and business has a critical role to play. To do this, it will require a lot of courage to think about how do we transform our business model, how do we think about how we evaluate ourselves in terms of the impact that we create. It's important to rethink the relationship between business and society, rethink about how we are enablers of the change that we want to see, and also important that we begin to think about how we change the language and the vocabulary around capitalism for us to be able to create sustainable and long-term change. At MTN, we believe that when we come together, we make great things happen, and together we are unstoppable. And I hope that as we come out of here as a gathering of givers, we truly will create an unstoppable Uganda with a change of mindset that we will achieve. I thank you all for your audience and your time. Thank you very much.
MTN Uganda launched the MTN Marathon, which would later become the biggest athletics event in the region. The marathon has raised over 4 billion shillings, which has benefited causes and communities. The marathon is a fundraising event that allows people to contribute to a good cause and is also a sports event. The marathon has over the years built up a reputation in terms of sports, attracting world champions and even Olympic champions.
I've been a participating MTN Marathons, and I'm one of the beneficiaries for MTN.
Our biggest reason why we do the marathon is essentially to look at proceeds, garner a lot of money from the proceeds and use that money to do CSR, in terms of going into the society and working with the society to identify issues. For example, we have been working on women's health. We have done work on building latrines, biolatrines for schools. We as MTN, we know we cannot do it alone. We need partners to join in, support the cause, because when it comes to CSR, it is not about one company doing it.
When the maiden MTN Uganda Marathon was launched in 2004, all the funds that were raised were channeled towards providing mama kits in the internally people's displaced camps in northern Uganda. From 2010 to 2014, the marathon dedicated its proceeds to water and sanitation for different communities in northern Uganda. And in this period, the marathon managed to raise 1.5 billion shillings. And in 2018 and 2019, the marathon concentrated on a new cause, improving maternal health. The funds collected were used to refurbish and equip theaters of 5 health centers across the country. As MTN Uganda, we thank our partners from Uganda Athletics Federation who oversee the technical aspects of the marathon and our implementing partners. And in a special way, we thank you, the general public, the ladies and gentlemen from Uganda and beyond, who pay for these kits and take to the tracks to champion improved service delivery in our communities. As MTN Uganda, we remain committed to supporting communities through the MTN Uganda Marathon proceeds and other initiatives from the MTN Foundation and Yellow Hope Initiative in times of national crisis. MTN Uganda.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a bigger round of applause for MTN Uganda. Thank you so much for the amazing work that you're doing and showing us that it is possible. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the final story for the day is a demonstration that it is not about the size of your business, but rather the size of your heart. This is Hasina Zawede and Molly's story. Take a look.
Erinnya lyange nze Zawedde Asiina okuva mu Wandegya Women Traders Cooperative Society Limited nga twegattira awamu ku kibiina kye bayita Federation of Kampala Hawkers and Vendors Association ekitwala abatembeeyi bonna mu Kampala Metropolitan nga ndi Secretary for Women Affairs. Ekintu omutima omugabi saidi yange kitegeeza bingi okusinziira ku mutima gwange kubanga nze okuva obuto bwange nga ndi mugabi. Okubeera n'omutima omugabi kintuusizza ku bintu bingi. Kati okugeza Madamu Jackie Asiimwe ne Ssanyu Penelope bampita ne tugenda mu retreat eyali ennungi ennyo mu bulamu bwange gye nali sifunangako. Yali ku Lakeside mu 2021. Twabeera ne tubeera mu gundi yaffe ne tunyumirwa ne tufuna emikwano batugabira ebirabo. Kati kwe nasinzira okwo nange we nakomawo ne ntandika okukola akantu ako. Nange ne nzija ne mpaako ku bantu obulabo. Kati ekibiina kyaffe omwaka egugwako nga neefiriza nga ngulayo obulabo obutonotono abakyala bange nga mbawaako nga mbasanyusa. Kati nga ne mu COVID ekyasinga okuntumbula ndowooza ennyo. Tulina ekibiina kyaffe ekya Wandegya Women Traders Cooperative Society Limited twasevinganga. Kati akasente ako COVID bwe yatuuka ne tupulaninga ng'ekibiina tuguze tutya obuwunga okulaba nga tusapurayinga bannaffe abateesobola kuba abantu balina famire. Naye kyatuuka ekiseera akasente ako ne kaggwaawo. Naye era nga njiiya nenkera ku makya ne ntambuza ebigere ne ŋŋenda erwe ne nsuubula enniimu ne nteeka ku kkubo. Omanye enniimu ezo Pulezidenti we yazadvisinga nti zisobola okugira ku COVID. Nga nsuubula nnyingi naye nga mmanya nti bwe nsuubula ebintu ebyo mulina okuvaamu akasente akanyamba nga nze akayamba ne bannange kubanga abasinga babeeranga waka nga tebakola. Abaali awo nga nguze kasukaali akatono buli omu ne ŋŋenda nga mmugabirako nina basanyufu. Abakyala abalema nga nfuna engeri gye mbayungayunga ku bantu ab'ebitongole ne batufunirayooko ku mmere. Tutyo ne tugenda nga tuva mu mbeera eyo.
We'd like to invite Hasina Zawede to take her position on the stage to receive the final gratitude award. And she's going to be joined by Molly, a true demonstration that it is your heart and not the size of your wallet that makes a difference. And to give this award, I'd like to invite the CEO of MTN, Ms. Sylvia Mulinge. Would you please do us the honors to recognize and celebrate these two amazing women who have truly, truly demonstrated that all it takes is to give of the little that you have to make a difference. Hasina and Molly, we celebrate you. Thank you so much. And that is the final gratitude award for the day. Well deserved. Well deserved. Now, ladies and gentlemen in the room, what reason do you have not to give? You have absolutely no reason not to give. And now that we have Giving Tuesday, we all have an opportunity to actually dig deep into our pockets and give towards causes that we are passionate about and solve problems in the community. Without any further ado, I would like to thank you so much, our chief guest. I'd like to invite the CEO, SivSource Africa, Malcolm Mpamizo, to make his closing remarks. You're welcome.
Hello, can you hear me? I was hoping that the technology is kinder to me at the end than it was at the beginning. Thank you very, very much. What an honor to be before you this afternoon and to really appreciate all of you for being a part of this event. SivSource Africa is an organization that is very passionate about philanthropy and civil society in its diversity. We work with philanthropists and support civil society. Our vision is to see philanthropy working and civil society thriving. To this end, SivSourcers, as we call ourselves, those that work with SivSource, spend a big chunk of our time supporting philanthropists, both local and international, influencing how philanthropy is done such that it's more accessible, more responsive, and also sustainable. We spend much of our time supporting civil society in its breadth to build its strength and harness its potential so as to make the most of the philanthropy ecosystem that it is a part of. We also spend some of our time supporting initiatives that shape the narratives around philanthropy, especially African philanthropy, and we've been a leading voice in the country and in the region on conversations around decolonizing aid and putting African philanthropy at the forefront. This is one such occasion which we have dubbed the Gathering of Givers. It's an occasion to celebrate the generosity that is found within our communities, as you have just seen. We've had previous editions that some of you have been a part of. We had a COVID-19 edition which offered us an opportunity to revel in the munificence of small and big givers alike. We did celebrate and advocate for big, bold, and brave philanthropy in 2022, in 2021, and in 2022, we recognized our common humanity and future in celebrating the seeds of generosity towards Mother Nature. Today, we have observed a profiling and a celebration of business entities that go beyond profit and respond to community consciousness by supporting social change. Like one hand washes the other, these businesses have appreciated that their support to communities allows the communities to grow and to prosper. By acknowledging, recognizing, and rewarding private sector entities for their acts of generosity across the nation, we aim to foster a movement of philanthropists and encourage partnerships between civil society organizations and businesses in their corporate social responsibility initiatives. I'll at that point apologize for speaking a little too fast for Susan, and I will begin to slow down. You are taking a glass of water. Oh, wonderful. All right. The support that corporate philanthropy, the support from corporate philanthropy takes many forms, as you have witnessed today, including time, treasure, and talent. We do anticipate that the opportunities like these that bring corporate philanthropy and civil society together are crucial for growing local philanthropy. That in cases becomes more responsive, more accessible, and more sustainable. It is such strategic philanthropy that can drive large-scale social change. Solving the intractable challenges in our communities requires rigorous and concerted efforts of civil society, of philanthropy, of businesses, and the government as well. One such effort can be in embracing technological innovations, not only to make giving more accessible, but also to harness digital tools and platforms to make implementation of social change programs easier and can lead to great scale and impact as well. MTN and several of similar companies do provide easier ways of giving, of being able to contribute. And that, while it is a way of making money for them, it also does give us an opportunity to give more and give even greater. As I conclude, local philanthropy is an imperative for civil society to thrive, both as a driver of national development, but also for economic success. Local philanthropy places community development at the heart of its ethos and promotes a participatory philanthropy and community ownership. Local philanthropy, with shared goals, robust partnerships, and bespoke community solutions, we believe that corporate philanthropy, which is on display today, which supports local communities, can lead to both community empowerment, economic growth, and improved community capacities. Enter Giving Tuesday Uganda, a platform for promoting a more radical sense of generosity, coming down from the West, coming down from the big companies to down to the individual, and being able to give more than once, being able to give severally, but that giving together having much greater impact. This partnership between CIVSOS Africa and the Duona Initiative as Giving Tuesday Uganda will be a sustained campaign towards further growing the giving culture among individuals, communities, and business entities alike, celebrating the fact that everyone has something to give. Therefore, we call upon each and every one of you in this audience, both physical and virtual, to become a self-anointed Giving Tuesday ambassador, identifying ways to celebrate and encourage giving as candles lighting one another and losing nothing in the process. I appreciate each and every one of you for participating in this event today. You've honored us with your time, and we do not take that for granted. To our long-term partners in the philanthropy sector, the East African Philanthropy Network, the Philanthropy Forum Uganda, which we are honored to convene, you have always heeded our call to come together in support of the sector, and your thought partnership remains invaluable. To our chief guest, Sylvia, you are an inspiration to many, and your presence at this event pays tribute not only to your passion, but also your endorsement of businesses giving for social change. Our keynote speaker, Honor, we are honored to have you, and you did not spare a syllable in articulating the theme today, and you touched hearts and minds in the way you shared the story of Nile breweries. Thank you so much for imparting knowledge and coalescing us towards a greater generosity. The Giving Tuesday team, we look forward with hope and optimism that what has been launched today is a start of a well-oiled partnership that will grow the philanthropic movement in Uganda to greater heights. And to the CIVSOS Africa team that has organized this event, thank you for your steadfastness, and we look forward to an even bigger gathering of givers in 2024. Thank you for yet another September to remember. Thank you very much.
My name is Isaac Aropet. I'm the Corporate Social Investments Coordinator here at Roofings Group. Roofings made 29 years this year. It is the biggest steel manufacturer in the country. Roofings headquarters is here in Luboa on the Entebbe Road, but we also have a factory in Amave. We also have presence in Kenya, and we export to several countries. Roofings was founded by Dr. Sekanda Lalani, and he's the current chairperson of Roofings Group. Roofings' vision is to be an accelerator for a sustainable Africa. What that means is that as we do business, we care for people and environment. How we engage society, we have an initiative we call Forever Forestry, which was started in 2012. which is really focused on regreening Uganda. And since Forever Forestry started, we've been able to support the planting of about over 1 million trees. We currently produce about 50,000 seedlings every month, and all these seedlings are given out for free. That is to support the tree planting initiatives all around the country. In health, we refill oxygen cylinders. And again, most of the wheelchairs are not suited for our terrain. They're not adaptable. So recently, Rovings started working with an NGO in Fort Portal called Chaninga Child Development Center to start manufacturing wheelchairs locally. The goal is to increase access to affordable, to adaptable wheelchairs in the country. And we hope that a significant percentage of these wheelchairs will be given out for free to persons with mobility challenges. In education, we adopted a school near our factory in Namamve. It's called St. Peter's Primary School, Nantabulirwa. At the time, it had about 200 learners. We decided to revamp the school, give it a facelift, but also provide several other materials. Actually, up to date, we provide them with drinking water. We provide them with fuel for cooking. We basically give them pallets. Companies, just like you and I, just like us, the individuals, have to be responsible. Have to be responsible towards society, have to be responsible towards the planet. It's collective responsibility. So businesses should make it part of their DNA.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an amazing day. We have heard the stories, we have shared the stories, we have celebrated the heroes and the heroines of these stories right here in this room, so you know they are real people and real businesses that are actually driving change. But we've also challenged ourselves to actually do a little bit more than we're already doing, because we can stretch ourselves a lot more. And now we have an opportunity to even do more, not just as organizations, but also as individuals, with the official launch of Giving Tuesday. It's right now. If you need any more information on Giving Tuesday, to my left, as you step out of the room, there is a banner, there is information. My request is just one: scan the QR code, register, and then think about what it is that you want to do. Be a part of the change, not tomorrow, not next week. Start today, while your hearts are still in the right place, and be part of the solutions in this country, and be counted as those that gave of the little that they had, whether it's of your time, your resources, your knowledge, your money. Each of us has the ability to give. And I know that Ugandans are giving people. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for Gathering of Givers 2023. And we certainly look forward to having you join us again next year. Have a beautiful day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to you. A big round of applause to South Africa. A big round of applause to all our partners, Dwana Initiative, Giving Tuesday Uganda. Please don't forget to get out of here and go to that banner you see on your left side. Scan the QR code, and you will get to another interface where we want you to share your details with us so we can get in touch with you and we can talk more about Giving Tuesday. And I would also wish and ask all of you that every Tuesday, post a story about generosity, about giving on your social media handles, Twitter, Facebook.